Venice in the very early spring, first week in March. Very much prone to morning and evening mists and fogs. On my way to the Scalzi Bridge, only one of 3 across the Grand Canal. That's where we'll start our walk across Venice. As I zoom into these ghostly figures floating over a canal. You'll walk with me from the Scalzi all the way to San Marco, the elegant piazza. It'll take about 45 minutes. And we'll do the walk in real time, never shutting off the camera. Whatever happens will happen. There'll be no editing. But, like on all walks, sometimes there will be speaking and sometimes we'll just walk in silence. And yet, other times we'll pop in the plugs and do a little MP3 on our iPods. Okay, here's where the walk begins. From this point on, come what may, the camera will roll till we get to San Marco. It's the only time to come to Venice, really, now in the off-season. No stifling heat, no foul-smelling canals, no mosquitoes, and no throngs of tourists from all parts of the globe. You can almost be said to have Venice to yourself, especially on a day like this. Well, gotta catch my breath. Actually, I like a limpid atmosphere. Very evocative, not only visually, but the thickness of the air mutes even more the sounds of footfalls and murmured voices off stone walls in this place completely free from the din of the motor car and scooter. Before I first came to Venice, I didn't think we could do what we're in the process of doing now. I thought you had to take a boat to get anywhere in Venice. I've had other people tell me that that's what they thought too. Now we know, though, that Venice is densely packed with pavement for walking. You can walk everywhere in Venice, even using one of the 400 bridges here to cross over the canals. And don't forget, Venice was built upon 118 low, swampy islands, creating a honeycomb of buildings upon the sinewy waterways. So then they built the city here in this most inhospitable place, upon a most unlikely setting for the engineering of a city. Why? To escape the Huns, and the Goths, and the Visigoths, and the Ostrogoths, not to mention the Franks. After the fall of Rome, the powerful tribes took over and terrorized the Veneto, forcing the Veneti to the very edge of the land, in fact, past the land and onto the water. They rammed tree trunks into the sandy soil till they hit the hard clay, and then they built their city upon the wooden bays. But they built light, mostly brick instead of stone, with a light stucco on the outside to cheat the damp. So how you holding up so far? Got an itchy trigger finger on the remote control or the mouse? Hearing the siren call of a reality show? Hey, it doesn't get much more real than this. A guy with a camera walking across Venice. And hey, bringing your eyes and ears with me. Right here on top of my stedi-cam, you've got the catbird seat as I float you through Venice. What more could you want? Lens tissue? Yeah, I know. Music? You want some music? All right. Maestro, if you please. Now getting closer to the real Venice, down a quiet canal. I'm not going to give you a history lesson today. For more of that, refer to my travelogues, A Postcard from Venice and Living in Venice. I will, however, be remiss if I didn't mention how Venice became great, lived as a republic for 1,000 years, and became fabulously rich and powerful. They were the traders between East and West, the merchants and go-betweens, supplying the Northern Europeans with exotics from the East, right about the time in history when people were sick to death of the food they were eating. They now could flavor the food with new and exciting spices, and they could dress in silks while they ate it. Just suffice it to say that through a powerful navy and ruthlessly efficient fabric of government, Venice made a fortune by transporting goods betwixt East and West, and vice versa as well. And everyone was quite happy with the arrangement, except for the English and the Dutch, and everybody else who didn't like the sticker price of the goods, and except eventually for Byzantium during the Fourth Crusade, who suffered betrayal at the hands of their Venetian cousins, but all that's in my travelogues. Today, we're here to walk and gawk. mentioned my first time in Venice and how the reality defied expectations. I knew it would be expensive, and it is, so I I brought a suitcase full of food, nuts and bread, peanut butter, etc. Since then, however, as any traveler to Venice knows, there are ways to eat on the cheap without shipping care packages to yourself. There's a number of grocery stores on the islands where, if you can navigate the dangerous shoals of the language barrier and local customs, you can eat much more cheaply than the restaurants. Just remember to put the disposable plastic gloves on before handling the fruit in the grocery store. The rest is easier. It's more likely you'll recognize the foodstuff in your hand than not. Although, looking for low fat or high fiber or other such subtleties might perhaps be abandoned in the interest of actually being able to buy any food at all. Checking the fat content of different jugs of milk is a challenge if you don't know the Italian word for fat. And all the bread varieties say morbido on their labels, which I suppose is a good thing. The point is, you can. I'm just going to show you this for a while, these great churches here. Tilt up, get a view of that. And a pan and tilt down to these neighborhood churches. Usually, there's only one church per neighborhood. Maybe one of these is a squale. You know, a sort of like a fraternal organization. Unique to Venice, but not unique to, you know, the Middle Ages and other parts of Europe. Okay, you can eat cheaply in Venice. You can go to one of the numerous establishments selling sandwiches and eat them while walking down the street. You'll pay more if you sit down, be advised. Order the sandwiches calde for hot, and they're quite delicious. And there's slices of pizza, Italian pizza. They're also an inexpensive gastronomical delight. And don't be afraid of the language barrier. Venice is an international city hosting visitors from all over the world whose default language, I'm happy to say, is English. I just wish that the 50% of the Venetian service industry would admit the inevitable. But they, being a proud people, often speak no English at all. As I discovered to my cost many times on the 20 occasions I've needed something. Glue for the sole of my shoe, or wood glue for the chair in the rental apartment that I broke, or super glue for my camera case. Seems like I need a lot of glue in Venice. I guess I should bring my own. There it is, the huge brick pile that is the famous Frari Church, named for the friars who had it built 1 million bricks ago. Reflected nicely in the canal. Look how calm it is today. Not a breath of wind. Okay, we're going to take it down another notch now. We're going deeper below the fascia into the arteries of this place. The streets get narrower, the people more sparse before it picks up again at Rialto. Now, if memory serves, we're coming up on a narrow canal here. A good spot to illustrate how Venice was built upon an already existing natural foundation of islands and rivulets, which became the canals, and a river, which is the Grand Canal. See, now there's the canal. Let me see if I can track to the other side here. See, now on the left was a separate island, and on the right was another. After many hundreds of years of building, you're hard-pressed to see the original substructure. But Venice today is a great stone maze, isn't it? Well, paving stone anyway. As I said, the walls are stucco-encrusted bricks. Words fail. I usually give a coin or two to the needy. In a place such as Venice, with its opulence and high cost of living, the contrast is stark and disgusting. The Venetians might say that the beggars on the streets aren't even theirs, that they came from across the border. Well, no matter. Until we commit to eliminating poverty, for whatever reason it may exist, for whomever, in whatever circumstances, we will never be civilized beyond a dog-eat-dog, winner-take-all rat culture of grossly wealthy haves and desperately destitute have-nots. How can I be here? How can I be happy? Ah, yes. Crossing a campo now. San Marco is a piazza, a large public square, but there are other large squares in Venice with names such as Santo Stefano's, Santa Margherita, what else? Santa Maria Formosa, and even smaller squares called the Campiellos. Okay, back in the maze now. You can see it's remarkably easy to get lost in this maze, and even harder to take directions from a local about how to navigate it. The actual size of Venice is quite compact. Walk for a while in any direction and you'll come across a large body of water. You can get lost for sure, but not utterly or hopelessly. You simply follow the signs to San Marco, or the train station, Ferrovia, or the car park, Roma, or Rialto, and you'll be okay. provided you know which direction each of those is in. My advice is take a map. Uh-oh, we've got a pigeon. Pigeone. Can't do much else but follow her through the maze. I remember my first visit to Venice. So many of my preconceptions were wrong. So many of my expectations needed to be modulated in degree. For instance, I never fully appreciated the notion of a place where there are no cars. I knew it would be different, but I wasn't aware of how much it would affect me. It's beyond wonderful. It's inexplicably, deliriously transcendent. You wouldn't believe it. We would if you stopped talking, Chuck. Okay, just gotta say, coming up to the Rialto area, more shops, more people, and, oh yeah, one of the most beautiful bridges in the world. Built 500 years ago by a local boy who beat out Michelangelo for the job. Okay, just listen for a while. Well, a lot of the shops have their shutters closed, so it's hard to get a true feel for this path I'm taking through the city, which I have to remind you is a major thoroughfare. Contrast this to your main street or high street, because it certainly is a major passageway through the city. And even though only some of the shops are unshuttered, I hope you can see another contrast. Old, sometimes crumbly walls housing the most upmarket of shops. Another contrast worth noting in Venice. Everything is slightly askew here, yet remarkably normal. Recognizable shops within old world buildings. You should see the McDonald's. It's no exception. Oh yes, there is a McDonald's in Venice. A spot on the map where tourists hesitate. And get this, free toilets in McDonald's. You think that's a big deal? Huh? Just wait till you get here. Just wait till you'd pay any price to find a toilet that was open. Yeah, you'll welcome the sight of that yellow M as you never have before. Coming up to the Rialto market and the shops on the bridge itself. Normally, this place is thronging with people and commerce, but as you see today, it's eerily quiet around here. One vendor open for business. You should really drink this in. You won't often find it like this. I should help that woman. Oh, man. But hey, I'm on a mission here. Besides, probably pull 14 muscles. Man, these steps are brutal. I'm happy to report that my right arm is doing okay. I entered the numbness stage about 10 minutes ago. Usually takes about 15 minutes of holding a stedi-cam for the arm to go numb. Which is good because it dulls the pain. See if I can get a shot on the bridge up here of the Grand Canal below us. Yeah. Tilt down and get a shot there. Yeah. Rialto is where it all began. The throbbing heart of commerce, the beating rhythm of capitalism all started here. I'm happy to report that I'm now entering the I can't feel anything in my arm phase, which is even better than the numbness phase. Is that the same woman? I'm not helping her twice? I can't believe it. Well, I must say, Venice has the best tourist trinket crap in the world, and I own much of it myself. I'm surprised he didn't hawk his gondola. Gondola, gondole? Maybe I had the look of a poor tourist in my eyes. 75 bucks for a 45-minute ride in a gondola. Ouch. But that's only one of the reasons that things cost so much in Venice. Everything has to be floated in. You'll see semi-trailers on barges moored to the perimeter of Venice and then unloading their goods onto small boats to be brought into the heart of the city via the narrow canals. All that extra ingenuity costs a lot of money. And the canals silt up. They're all tidal, you know. They rise and fall twice a day, and they have to be dredged. The buildings have to be maintained and repaired. It's all very old, to be sure, but believe me, the constant touch of modern men and women are upon this place continually, just to keep it alive. But that's all the man behind the curtain stuff. They say you either love Venice or you hate it. To be in love with Venice is to be smitten with the impossibility of it, and to see the romance in a swirling mist of fog. To hate it, well, There's no hope for you then, my friend, poor soul. Turn and walk away, and don't ever look back. Well, as I've mentioned, I've shot travelogues in Venice, but I have very fond memories of shooting fictional movies here as well. 5 of them, to be exact, which is no mean achievement, I can tell you, given that there's never been any money for such an endeavor. No, rather I've relied on the good graces of groups of talented actors who have paid their own way here to Venice to be in one of my movies. These foreign films, as I call them, have been the most challenging aspect of my career, for obvious reasons. Many more parameters to be addressed and finessed compared to bringing camera and gear for a travelogue or still photography. But surely nothing has given me more pleasure than to repay the largesse of the casts who have accompanied me here with a dramatic expansion of their worldview and a realization of their place on the planet that only travel can bring. None of which would have been even remotely possible without the logistical magic of my wife Donna, who can sniff out travel bargains at 100 yards. And as an adjunct to the movies I've shot here, there's always an attendant making of documentary showing the behind-the-scenes impossibilities of such an endeavor. I'd draw those to your attention as well. It's all on my website, chuckbentleyproductions.com. But today, it's just you and me, and I'll walk across Venice. We Americans think we invented everything, but even the idea of Las Vegas has its roots here in Venice, hundreds of years ago, no less. This city was known throughout the Western world as a place dedicated to the pursuit of earthly pleasure, and boy, did they pursue it. Carnival, which now takes place in the 10 days before Lent, used to run for 6 months. Need I say more? I will. Courtesans, you know, those original ladies of the night, were often schooled in the arts, especially music and conversation. No quick bump at the Bunny Ranch in Venice. They wined and dined, and only then supined with the object of their affection. And there being no penicillin at the time, Well, you have to know that what happened in Venice often did not stay in Venice, but went back home with the rich young men of Europe. And here we are, the Piazza San Marco, the best drawing room in Europe, said Napoleon when he conquered Venice in 1799 and brought an end to the 1,000-year run of the most serene republic. Cafes and shops well shielded from the biting air. In summer, orchestras compete for the attention of the tired tourist who will sit in the piazza and take a $15 espresso in one pull. Tiny little things, espressos. They do pack a punch, though. And always under the hungry gaze of hundreds of tourist corn-fed pigeons who call San Marco theirs. There's one of the guys who sell corn to the tourists to feed to the pigeons. You didn't think the pigeons hung around here for free, did you? In a tourist town, everything has its price. Ever been anywhere more stunningly, strangely evocative? It's raining, Chuck, I know. Nothing's open, I know. It's cold, I know. But have you? That's it then. We walked for 45 minutes from the Scalzi Bridge to San Marco and never shut off the camera. It's been nice having you along with me today. Someone to talk to, some good music, and some great sounds of a city without cars. One of the greatest cities in the world. We'll do one last pan of San Marco. Those of you who are familiar with my work already know that the disembodied maestro to whom I refer is Randon Miles Chisnell, a composer, a musician, webmaster, and agent provocateur. Let's let the pigeons have the final word. It's their piazza, after all. They'll be here long after we've gone. They'll still be perched on top of the statues, just above the waterline. When Venice, exhausted finally after hundreds of years of its heavy load, slowly, so slowly, sinks silently into its watery grave.